to unrecord. Ask me to stop recording when we're done with the discussion, because it went on, our last recording went on, and then Leslie had a very, very long time to have to work to get that posted. So I want to try to be kinder to her and her goodness. So here is the first invocation. I think we could call this an invocation. And it is bodhicitta, precious and sublime. May it arise where it has not yet come to be. And where it is arisen, may it grow and flourish ever more and more. And so that's something I want you to think about, recite, read, write, as we always do, embody. And we could say this differently. Does anybody have a different word that we could say for bodhicitta? What might be a different word you could put in there? Anybody writing it? I can't see chat, so I don't.
Presence, awareness.
Presence, awareness, awakened heart.
Openness.
Openness, what else?
I like that right here and what we'd like to throw away.
Yeah. Right here.
Joyce said, loving kindness.
Loving kindness, love, compassion, wisdom. These are all of the characteristics of the heart mind of bodhicitta. You put the word in there that makes most sense to you. Oh, love. Oh, awakened heart. This dear thing of mine and others. May I bring it where it is otherwise not likely to grow. Otherwise, where it otherwise will not likely grow. What does that mean for you? And then we'll talk about the rest of the practice. And last week, what does that mean for you when I say, I want you to embody that? I want you to find your own phrasing. If that one doesn't feel right for you, that's okay. There's no one way to say it. But I do want you to call it up, because we already know the neuroscience backs us completely on this. I just listened to a talk by Dan Siegel this morning on psychedelic assisted psychotherapies, and he really said the same thing. If you don't call your reality, your creation, your presence, your greatest self up, it can't arise. And then we all keep waiting, I noticed, don't we? Like, where is it? I don't know where it is. I don't know where it went. I don't know why I don't have it. It's not true, is it? None of it is true. You do have it. It is always there. And you do have to intention and invoke it. You do. It is all correct. How do you do it? Well, in the Tibetan tradition, beginning in the 8th century with Shantideva, they said, let's recite a few things. We don't have to keep recreating the wheel. This is good enough. If you can find something more meaningful, like Joyce's phrase, call it up. Does it have to be done every day? What's the answer? Does it have to?
Absolutely, absolutely.
No doubt about it. Why?
We forget.
We forget. How? I don't know. I don't know. I like the idea myself that, you know, you get it, you got it, it's good, you keep it, there it is, you just use it all. I don't have any evidence for this whatsoever. In fact, the terrifying reality, I wish it weren't true, but it is that we have to call it up every moment. Right? But we begin the day with it, we end the day with it, and then we fill in all the dots with every breath, every moment, every step, every word, every action, right? Isn't that the way? They gave you a formula for this. Start the day with it, end the day with it, fill in all the blanks. Makes sense to me, doesn't it? Really? Now, we often know this really, don't we, at some essential level, and we don't do it, but we know it, right? Everybody's nodding. I got a lot of nodders. Like, yep, know this, know this. How many people do this every day? Nobody. You don't even have to raise your hand. Nobody. Why? Because we've already forgotten. That's why we've already forgotten, but we're going to remember. We're going to begin by remembering. Put this by your bed, write it in your journal, stick it on your wall. I don't think that's a bad idea either. Carrie does calligraphy. We can hire Carrie to come write that on our bedroom wall. And I don't think it's a bad idea. And I'm not joking. In fact, as I'm saying this to myself, I got a solidly blank wall behind me. It might not be a bad idea to look at that every day. Okay, so we know. So that's it. We're going to recite it again as we strike the bell. But before we do, remember, we're going to be talking about the Dharma before the practice, doing the practice and talking about the new chapter. So that is what we're going to be reciting there. I'm going to stop that screen for a minute because I want to draw then up the other one, which was our homework, the practice. I use old words, they're not very effective. Our practice. And our practice, I'm going to move this out of the way so I can actually see the words. The practice was, we remember, we were going to be taking moments for non-meditation meditation, resting, key word, key verb, resting in open space. We came up with a mantra. Does anybody remember the mantra from Saturday? Let's recite it now and help everybody remember. What was it? Dennis was here, Carrie was here. Remember that one with the word flow in it? Anybody remember it? It was from Saturday. So if you weren't here Saturday, don't worry. Anybody remember? It was a little mantra as a way of remembering to open the Bodhi heart. Create space. Remember this? Anybody remembering this now?
And then experience flow.
Experience flow. Act in accord. Right? Act in accord with that vast open space that is the truth of your own Bodhi heart. Right? Without space, we cannot open. We cannot open in a crowded room, and that is often the mind. Create space, experience flow, and act in accord. We're going to try to remember that as we practice today. We were going to also take a look this week, if you remember, at what kinds of handles, what kinds of grips, what kinds of devices, what kinds of addictions get in the way. We call those hindrances, obstacles, obscurations. These are all words used across traditions to talk about what cloud climbs in front of that radiant sun of our own awakened heart mind to diminish us. Not really, but the brightness of that light does not shine. And what I asked you to take a look at it. It is often perceptions of self. What perceptions? I'm too good for this. I'm not good enough for this. That's often the basics. I'm too good. I shouldn't have to do this. I shouldn't have to do this like this. I shouldn't have to do this alone. I shouldn't have to do this for you. I shouldn't have to. That's one side of it. And the other is, I'm not good enough for any of this. I'm not capable. Life's too hard. The teachings from last week said we use both of those false senses of self. They're not real as ground. We're so anxious. We're so insecure. We're so fearful. We're so tender. We're so vulnerable. We're so human. It's all true. That we would rather stand on the ground of unworthiness than stand on no ground at all. Is that amazing? Is it not amazing? We would rather stand on the ground of unworthiness than be groundless. Yep, we know it, don't we? It blows my mind still, 30 years later. That reality blows my mind. That's the one we're going to keep working with. Do we have to be harsh, judgmental, condemning? Do we have to get rid of that reality? In fact, the teachings we'll be going over today say no. It is, in fact, the very path to bodhicitta. That we open to the truth of that vulnerability, of that humanness, of that tenderness, and of that groundlessness. That itself is the path. Wow. Now, I will say one more thing and then we'll go to the practice. What is the habit of mind, your mind, my mind, our minds, in the face of that vulnerability? What is our usual habit in the face of that groundlessness, tenderness, humanness, don't know, nothingness? What's the habit?
Shut down.
Big time. Isn't it? Big time. Shut down. Get busy. Who likes that one? Fill it up. Who likes that one? I'm a filler. I like to fill stuff. I don't like them empty. I like them full. Right? That's that mind. We do, don't we? Now it's all the same, whether you're an emptier or a filler. Because what did we say? I am not enough. I am too much. Doesn't matter. It is the grabbing of either that obscures the radiant, open, spacious, boundless, infinite reality of bodhicitta. Either one. I am everything or I am shit. It doesn't matter. True? We made an I, didn't we? We took it, we put it in a box, we gave it a title, we gave it characteristics, and we keep landing on it. And in these practices, it says this will never, never contribute to our happiness, to our freedom, to our well-being. Okay, enough of that. Does anybody on a screen go, I just don't get this? This doesn't make any sense to me. Do you have a question about that then? Doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know how she came up with this. Anybody? No, correct. Nobody's that stupid. That's why. Yeah, like, no, I know, don't we? I already know that I do this. I already know that I'm either the judge or the one being judged, right? I do both. Doesn't everybody? Yeah, every time you do it, you are diminishing the awakened heart mind of bodhicitta. You are grabbing ground called I am enough, I am not enough. They are both false. Interestingly, they are both false because they're thoughts. Okay, so I think we're all right. Any questions before we go into the practice? I've got Shivam here. Let me read this quick. When I forget to set my intentions, we talked about that in the morning, and set more reminders during the day, everything unravels. Yeah, and I do forget to do this. Yes, we do. That's the forgetting isn't the problem, the not looking. Then, how did I go to sleep? How did I fall from my greater self? What did I let come and consume me? Or what did I consume that took me away from the essentials? What was it? Was it the coffee making? Was it the hurry up and look at the email? Was it the I got to do my stretches? And like I said, not one of those things is bad. That's not the problem. It's that we use them, don't we, as excuses for not cultivating the heart mind of bodhicitta. That's why. Remember, we're never going to blame the objects for our problem. It's never true. We are going to look at how the vulnerable mind will look for devices, will grab habits, will stay locked in old thinking because it's easier than not knowing, than being groundless. This came from Pema directly. I was in an LA retreat with her on this very topic many years ago in West Hollywood. And she said it then, and I have remembered it since. There is only groundlessness on the path to boundlessness. We must open to both. There is only groundlessness on the path to bound. That means the Bodhi. Okay. Nobody, no worries, space, flow, life. Yes, that's exactly right. Pile more on. Let's go. Here we go. We're going to go into the practice. We're going to start with non-meditation meditation again because we struggle, don't we? No ground, nothing to hold, no object. We don't like it. This is why we practice it, because otherwise, I've had a lot of comments about this, by the way, and the comments have been things like, my mind just won't stay there. That is correct. It's okay. Notice where it goes, smile. Remember that every moment of grabbing, clinging, grasping, and rejecting, whether we're doing which one, is some egoic element for trying to establish solid ground. It's okay. We're all doing it. Just know what it is and smile. Open back into the vast open space. We're going to do it again and again. I'm going to see if I can't get to that just so you can see it. And so while we are offering the whole heart mind, this is really the gathering with intention, the whole heart, mind, body, being, just as it is here. Lama Surya Das says, Buddha body, sitting restfully. Buddha mind, clear seeing, bright, radiant, and boundless. Buddha heart, vast and open. That's how you're sitting. And in this practice, remember, we're just resting in open space, whether that's a little bit of open space right here under the nostril or in front, that little space. Some people like the littler space to begin. Other people like resting in vast open space, creating a sense of sky-like quality of mind. This is wonderful, no better or worse. Just sky-like image. I happen to see the sky, so that's very easy for me. I have to let go of the skyness, however, to rest in the space. I can't hold even sky. And other people just create that open space right there about arm's length. Most of the sense of the body of spaciousness out there. See which one works for you. We're keeping the eyes open for now. We're relaxing the body, though we're allowing it to settle and be still. And we don't ring the bell. Because we begin again and again, every breath moment, before, during, and after the bell. This is continuous meditation. No beginning, no middle, no end. One of the ways it's often written, and these are considered the three noble purities, beautiful at the beginning. Beautiful in the middle. Beautiful at the end. And I do a little eye opening, eye closing. I am drawing both to the spaciousness around me. And then I lower the eye because it's just a little support for me to draw in and gather that spaciousness of awakened heart mind, the heart of bodhicitta from within. Spaciousness around, spaciousness within, dissolving any solid sense of the body. It's just falling again and again, opening into space. I use the out breath a little bit to let that dissolution sense happen. See how it works for you. The breath is an appearance. It is not an object of focus. Bodhicitta, oh bodhicitta, oh awakened heart, mind. Oh, great love, great wisdom. Prajna Paramita, you can call out, invoke the Bodhisattva heart in any way that's right for you. Precious and sublime. A gift freely given in this human life. How lucky are we? May you arise then, this radiant, boundless heart. May you arise, and may I be that which contributes to it arising where it has not yet come to be. And guess where that is? Right now, this moment. It has not yet come to be. Right now, this moment, you are manifesting this. the Buddha body, Buddha mind, Buddha heart, embodying the Buddha being. This is how we do it. With unconditional friendliness as we greet this present moment. And as we greet ourselves. Unconditional friendliness, kindness, compassion, love, and wisdom, Maitri. We're bringing it into this very moment. And where it has arisen, may it grow and flourish evermore. And this may not feel a lot like meditation given our old definitions. It's okay. We're looking to be more open in our meditation practice because it is continuous. The bodhicitta is continuous. Presence, continuous. Buddha nature, continuous. Resting in open space. Be watchful of only using the eye door. It's not sufficient. So if you're just resting the eye door, that's a good start. But actually, this boundlessness, this groundlessness requires more. It requires the felt sense of vast open space around, within, between, upon. The sense of the spaciousness within the body. Mostly space. The sense of space between thoughts, within thoughts, around thoughts, images, and mind objects. Mostly open space. See if you can't soften the body. One of our habits when we're whirling through open space is attention. We can bring a little bit of tension into the body. See if we can't release that creating space and room there. There's some dogs barking. And one of the ways I'm making contact with the space is I caught the beginning of the bark, which means there was space before. I could hear the duration of the bark. There's space within. And I could hear the end of the bark, returning to open space. Watch for any habits for looking. It's not a looking. It's a quality of being, a quality of mind, a quality of heart, receiving, including, welcoming everything. That's why we keep the eyes open, the ears open, the body open. But if you could imagine the heart, mind, and body as that screen door through which everything arises and passes. You can easily rest the eye on an object, but it's not for seeing. It is for releasing. That way the eye doesn't wander. You can get a felt sense of the open space, even in, around the object. Feeling into the spaciousness of the breath, opening space, arising from space, returning to space. all perceptions of solidity, solidness, permanence, or mine. That's a delusion. Including this body. Including that gurgly belly. Including this sensation. Momentary, non-self, and unreliable. Can't count on it. Mere illusion. As we rest in the groundlessness on the path to the boundless, on the path to the heart mind of bodhicitta, we recognize the arising, we recognize the passing. When thoughts arise, we recognize a thought simply as a thought and a temporary arising. Not permanent, not fixed, not mine, not satisfactory. And with that recognition, we smile and we can solidly release. Into the greater reality of bodhicitta, the greater reality of the boundlessness, not limited by any thought. We use both the clarity and the confusion on the path. There's no one thought better or worse than another. Who would I be without these thoughts? And then for a few moments, we're going to invite a practice with a difficult emotion only because I want you to see its truth equal to the truth of the breath or the sound or the thought. And so I'd like you to, you can lower the eye a little bit more. Sometimes closing it as we do a reflection can be useful. See what's right for you. I would like you to recollect a difficult moment recently, one in which the heart mind was activated into distress. And we're going to invite that quality of steadfastness that is one of the characteristics of bodhicitta. That means we don't have to run, we don't have to hide, we don't have to grab it, we don't have to get away from it. We're just going to establish attention and intention by holding it, this distressing thought, experience, struggle. And we're going to cultivate a kind of friendliness. Pema used the word loyalty, which I really liked in the chapter. A certain loyalty with the experience. That means we don't claim it, but we're not going to run from it either. And we have a tendency to run away from unpleasant experience. So rather than that, we're going to allow it to be as it is, acknowledging it as thinking or feeling, allowing that space, resting there, in which the experience is appearing and disappearing. You might have an imagery, you might have a recollection of a conversation or a recollection of thoughts as we are cultivating this experience. And then I'd like you to drop beneath the words. This is a key instruction. Dropping beneath the words, we're going to let go of the idea of it's like this, I'm like this, they're like this. It's drop beneath the words. The experience will hold in the mind object as an image or, but I want you to get beneath that down into the direct experience of the body. Remember, also imbued with vast open space, but we're going to drop in there, see what's happening there. We're going to stay and be loyal and be friendly to this experience in the body. And we're going to stay and stay and feel and sense whatever is true here. I got a little rapid heart rate. I'm noticing I've got a little bit of tightness that gripped around the heart space. I can feel a little tension in the back of my shoulders. I'm not going to judge, evaluate, get rid of, or try to make bigger. We're not going to make it bigger today. We're just going to rest with what's here. Can we breathe with, embody completely? Allow, invite, accept this body mind exactly as it is. You may notice pleasant sensations, more commonly unpleasant sensations of tension or tightness. or contractedness or blocking, numbness, disconnect. It's all fine. Remember, this is a part of the path. We are inviting patience and Maitri to this experience. Unconditional friendliness, love, compassion, letting be. If you lose contact with the experience, you can reignite with a few more recollections about the experience, maybe remembering the harsh tone, remembering the painful words or experience, maybe even felt sense. We're going to recollect it again, drop beneath the words. This means this means that. We're going to let go of the narrative, the storyline, to get back into the direct experience of the body and stay. This is the instruction. With every breath, we become a more loving, more kind, more compassionate, wiser, more skillful being. Every breath, we're growing the muscle for staying. It might pinch, it might ouch, it might hurt, it might grip, and it's okay. I am not going to invite the use of labeling. I think that pulls us up into thinking. I'd rather you stay in inquiry within the body. You'll notice sensations appearing and disappearing, coming and going, liking and not liking. And there is simply one instruction to begin, and that is to stay in the direct experience. Connecting directly with the energy in the body. And abiding with our energy without the storyline. From this instruction, there was only the invitation and the offering, the igniting of the bodhicitta, that awakened heart mind that holds it all. With love. With compassion. And how do you invite that or invoke that? It is, in fact, in the staying. The naturally arising compassion. Compassion for the truth of our suffering in this human life and the path to its end. And then we will invoke the second prayer, a quote whatever you want to call that. And that is this. And see what it means for you as I'm speaking. As we rest in this heart of bodhicitta, holding all experience and this one, inviting Maitri. So long as time and space endures, and as long as there are beings who exist, may I so too remain to wash away the sorrows of the world. May I not abandon myself and then not abandon others on this boundless path to happiness and freedom. I will ring the bell here. I'm going to check in quickly just to make sure that we don't have more questions. Any questions about that practice? Learning to stay. Looks like we're good. We're going to be resting in that this week. But I would like to go over chapter 4, Learning to Stay, from the book, The Places That Scare You. So let me pull that up. Learning to Stay. A really lovely chapter with lots of pith. They're called pith instructions. Very short, but very meaningful. And here was the quote that Chogyam offered, which is, meditation is regarded as a good, in fact, excellent way to overcome warfare in the world, our own warfare, as well as greater warfare. We already know we begin with our own, and the war we just sat in is not resisting the truth of our direct experience, no longer resisting the tenderness, the confusion, the vulnerability, the not liking, but rather staying. This is the instruction. Here's what some of the chapter had to say. To be encouraged to stay with our vulnerability is news that we can use. Pema says that a lot, and I always love it when she says that. It is the foundation of our bodhicitta training. Wow, what? Just being with. The foundation of our bodhicitta training. It is the natural dharma seat. The very willingness to be with and stay is the essential practice of the bodhisattva. activating bodhicitta, or the awakened heart mind. It is a method of cultivating, and you heard me use the word today, unconditional friendliness. That's a part of that Maitri that you heard me reference more than once, towards ourselves and our experience. And for parting the curtain of indifference, of disconnect, we could say, of numbing, of distraction, all of those are relevant here. That's what she means by indifference. All of those strategies we have too often used to stay separate from our real experience and what Joko called, and I spoke this on Saturday, a false and substitute life. That we settle for a false and substitute life, because that's all you're left with once you deaden, once you habituate, once you fixate, once you strategize. That's all you're left with. And it actually, this practice, very much so for me, is that which is cultivating our capacities for being truly loving people, beings. She says you can notice in the meditation gaps in our internal dialogue. I don't know, I noticed that definitely more so in an open-eyed meditation. I tend to catch all that noise so much more in a closed meditation. It's not a wrong thing. This is just a different thing. We're not really looking to make more contact with the thoughts than recognizing that they're thoughts. That's all we're doing here. And then we're bringing a quality of fearlessness, a quality of patience, and a quality of unconditional friendliness or Maitri to the experience itself. That is this learning to stay. This coming back to the immediacy of our experience is training in unconditional bodhicitta. So good to know you're doing it already. We relax more and more into the open dimension of our being, and I would add, and the world. It's us and more. It's not limited in any way to just our experience. We can use meditation to reinforce, this is what we can do that is not so helpful, to reinforce our false beliefs that meditation will get us out of suffering, that it will protect us from experiencing difficulties, that it will fix something in us, that it will fulfill, this drives me crazy, in things like The Secret. If you just think it, all of a sudden, there it is for you. It doesn't mean it's not true. It means the striving for it is a major problem. So I want us to watch for that. Get me out of here, get me somewhere else. That is not the path. Not the path. Meditation is not just about feeling good. In fact, I think the point of this chapter, learning to stay, is that we're going to often, maybe half the time, maybe more, confront things that are unpleasant, that we don't like, that are scary, hard, overwhelming, tender, and infuriating. It's okay. This is just a part of experiencing. We don't have to get rid of it. In fact, we're going to begin to form new relationship with it. Nothing to get rid of. We can use everything on this path, and that includes our vulnerabilities. Meditation takes us just as we are. Well, so does the bodhicitta, with our confusion and our sanity. I don't think I'd have used the word meditation there. I would have said the bodhicitta, or the awakened heart mind, takes us just as we are. We could do all kinds of things in meditation that aren't so good for us, as we said before. But the point is, we're using all of it, not trying to be some other way. Could somebody write that down? We're not trying to be some other way. It is not workable. It cannot fix anything. In fact, it contributes to our suffering. We're not trying to be some other way. This very acceptance, this very open-heartedness is the boundlessness of bodhicitta called Maitri. Trying to fix ourselves is not helpful. She put that very gently. It's worse. It's actually going to contribute significantly to our suffering. It is primarily a cause of our suffering, by the way. The lasting transformation will occur when we honor ourselves as the source of wisdom and compassion and offer it to ourselves. I know it seems so simple. As we recognize and honor ourselves as the true source of wisdom and compassion, does that mean it's only us? No. Does that mean it's us independent of others? No. Does that mean it's something special about us? No. Does that mean it's everywhere always and we have to put on those bodhicitta lenses to see the goodness, the godness, the goddessness, I said this morning, in all things? Yes. Do we have to call up, put on the glasses, wear the lens of bodhicitta in order to see this essential reality? And the answer is right here in what we'd like to throw away. This is one of Joyce's favorites. In what we find repulsive, disgusting, frightening, terrifying, grief-stricken, right there. Right there, we discover the warmth, the clarity, the goodness of bodhicitta. Here's one of my notes. I want to read this. What does this quote mean for you? I'd like you to write that in chat. What does this quote mean for you? Right here in what we'd like to throw away, in what we find repulsive and frightening, we discover the warmth and clarity of bodhicitta. What does that mean for you? Write it in chat. I will wait. Without Maitri, renunciation, or not choosing the old habits, we could say. That's all renunciation means. Making a choice not to do the same old habits the same old way. That's all it means. We make it more, not to do it. What does it actually becomes abusive if we don't use Maitri? What do we have here? Let's see. If we're not trying to fix ourselves, what is the difference in that and learning from how we react to something and look at it in a healthier way now? The difference is that we don't set it as the result. We enact the process, letting whatever good comes come. So it's process oriented, present moment oriented. There is no, and then I will be later, anything. There is, what can I open to now? What can I invite now? What can I draw upon now? My natural friendliness and compassion, and we let what comes come. There is no striving. There is no fortune telling. There is no gotta get to that. The very transformation, that was the word used, is happening right now as we open completely to our direct experience. It's already happening. Nothing healthier to get to. That's it. You're doing it. And then you keep doing it. And then you keep doing it. And we cultivate a certain quality of heart, mind, and muscle for it. This is the hard work. Yes, it is. It means that we allow ourselves to feel our feelings. Yes, it does. In the face of let me add to that, Felicia. It means we allow ourselves to feel our feelings, but without the storyline. We have to add that. The storyline says, this is good, this is bad. This should be like this. This shouldn't be like this. If only they would have, then I wouldn't be feeling like this. If only I would have, then we drop beneath the storyline to feel the direct experience. Emotions are loaded, by the way, with storyline. Yeah, they are. They're loaded with narrative. They're loaded with preference. They're loaded with judgment. We're dropping beneath that into the direct bodily sensations and experience. Be watchful, because we tend to have a story about our experience. We're going to be working to not drag that with us into the next moment. In the face of discomfort, pain, and struggle, sitting with it brings more comfort than avoidance. Thank you so much, Courtney. Isn't it true? Yes, it is. It's always true. Now, do you trust it? No. No, because not me always either. Right. I get up against the tsunami wave of grief. I get up against the tsunami wave of loss. I get up against the tenderness of the heart that's going to break in the face of it. And I go, no, I don't think this time. Maybe not this time. Maybe the best I can do is numb. Maybe the best I can do is go on a vacation. Maybe the best I can do is get busier. And again, am I faulting it with judgment? No, I understand its humanness. And yes, it's always true. It is better to drop into the direct experience itself than to run, because you cannot hide. I think that's a song. Yep, thank you. We have to have loving kindness for ourselves as well as others. That's exactly right. But you got to have it for yourself first, because you can't have for others what you don't have in abundance. We can't offer what we don't have. Empty pockets don't equal any benefit to anybody. And yes, Maitri is a natural offering of the practice and the methodology of staying, and you will grow big muscle for it. I love that. I love that. To connect with my feelings objectively allows me to see and work with it lovingly. Yes, it does. Objectively might be a funny word there. It's not, I don't know. I don't know if it's subjective, objective. I don't know that I would add that. I would just say being with my experience directly. I know what you mean though, Jan. You're meaning without the storyline, and that is correct. I know exactly what you're saying. If it's all easy, no need to call forth bodhicitta. Exactly right. I want to get my team together too. I don't want to play this game by myself. And calling up bodhicitta is accessing that greater capacity in all of us. By the way, we're calling it up not only from within us, we're calling it up from within all beings. Just so you know, when we call up bodhicitta, it doesn't, no one owns it. It is everyone's. And that is why we need reinforcements. There's probably a military word for this. Troops. Call in the Marines. Yeah, we're calling in all the bodhicitta from everywhere in all directions. Without it, the repulsive, we couldn't feel more tender towards ourselves and then others. That's right. If you can't see the damage and the pain and the pinch and the suffering, you cannot find the way to its end. It is one of the four noble truths. Well, it's at least two of them. If you do not know the cause of suffering, you cannot feel for it and find the path to its end. It's why we're inviting the practice of staying. And yes, it tenderizes, pummels us, I suppose, in its way, doesn't it? Into tenderness. By the very nowhere to go, nothing to do, and it hurts like this. I'd like to throw away not allowing my heart to talk for what I am feeling. Yes, that is fear, a level of fear, and that fear has a consequence. Dennis, it's true for us all. The tenderness gets covered up with the armor of fear, and we then are less ourselves than is going to be useful to you and the world. It's all true. So good for you. You are correct. Better to speak it and risk it, whatever it is. Whatever it is. I have that part down. What I don't know how to do is shut up. I'm working on that. I do know how to say what's true. I've practiced that a long time, and now I got to learn how to shut up. Like there's nothing to say here. Can I just be tender and open? Not always something to say. And it might just get in the way, right? And I'm practicing like you. Renee, I can feel so anxious if I haven't called up the Bodhi. Yeah, me too, because you're all alone there. I've been feeling this lately and at times felt overwhelmed as I haven't been in a place of non-clinging and compassion, acceptance. That's right. That's the path of suffering. And we all know it well. Renee, we're all there with you. And yes, we all need each other, and to call it up from ourselves and each other, as Seth was saying, if it was so easy, you wouldn't need a team. You'd just be living the dream. And it is doable, however, and it is your capacity to do so. And so we remember that too. We are set up for running. Yes, we are. Carrie, speaking to the reality of that lizard brain, that brain stem that fires first. Actually, the lower brain fires. And we have to call up. So the neuroscience says this too. Thank you, Carrie. Neuroscience says if you leave it to chance, or if you leave it to habit, or if you leave it to what you're familiar with, or if you leave it to what feels good, you're going to leave it to the brainstem. And if you're going to leave it to the brainstem, you only have fight, flight, freeze. And if you do that, bodhicitta cannot be available there. Bodhicitta is actually called up from the prefrontal neocortex, not back here, lizard, right? Back here, whole human, wholehearted, whole bodhicitta. From here, we know what we look at it on fMRIs, and our capacities are much greater for feeling for ourselves and another, for compassion, for love, for care, for wisdom. They come from here. Right. And so, yes, if we leave it, we can only do as well as the lizard. Without Maitri, we already said, just becomes a harshness against ourselves. Steadfastness, clear seeing, experiencing our emotional distress. That's what we did today. And attention to the present moment. We did all of that in this practice today, are all essential characteristics of bodhicitta. She goes on to describe them. I'm not going to take much time with that, just to remember them. Steadiness, seeing clearly from that steadiness, dropping beneath the words and the storyline into direct experience, experiencing ourselves. I'll even say not just our distress, but our enoughness, our capacities, our goodness, they all count. And staying, attention to the present moment. That's staying. You cannot, if you land here but hang out here, you're going to miss every other moment, and every moment informs. Every moment is transformative. Every moment has goodness in it. Every single one. Even when you're pretty sure, not this one. It's not true. So what's the work? Well, she says, meditate every day, even if it's for a short period of time. I've been talking about this till I'm a different color. The truth is what? 60 breath minimum, 60 breath minimum practice every day, unconditionally, no matter what, as if your life depends on it, because it does. Right? That's the minimum. That's about 7 or 8 minutes. You don't have a choice. You cannot cultivate these qualities without it. You need the pause. You need the stillness and silence. You need to invoke bodhicitta. You need to rest in open, spacious awareness. And you need the present moment, the steadiness of the mind in the present moment in order to see clearly. No negotiating. There's no negotiating. Says getting it right or attaining some ideal is not the path or the practice. It becomes increasingly clear that we won't be free of self-destructive patterns. That's our habits, by the way, unless we develop a compassionate understanding of what and who we are and who they are. What are they? Armor, calluses, protection, guards from our tender, achy hearts. Being in the body is one of the ways we practice steadfastness. This is the work we're going to participate in today. In meditation, we often make contact with our hindrances, with restlessness, with sleepiness, with laziness, with distraction, with qualities of mind that are negative and that I don't mean negative in a judgmental way, but that are damaging, untrue, limited is really what I mean, and will not benefit us. But it is essential that we see it, then drop beneath the storyline that defines that as you into the direct experience of the body in the present moment, naturally breathing and birthing compassion. Stay, just stay. Here's clear seeing. We talked about Maitri. Thinking, we're just letting it be thinking. We're not making up stories about it. We can no longer hide from ourselves in our mindfulness awareness practice. We will begin to see our habits, which include our thinking, limited thinking, as restrictions. They feel claustrophobic. They feel old, stale, brittle, too familiar. We develop a kind of distaste for them. It's the word we use is dispassion, like, oh, come on, it's still playing. I don't even believe it anymore. This is actually understood to be important on the path, by the way. Here we go. I don't even believe the story, even though it's playing. I'm getting tired of it. And that's not seen as bad news, but we're still going to bring a compassionate presence to it. No aggression, no hatred, no greed. That's the experiencing our emotional vulnerability, which I asked us to do today. I asked you, who am I without these thoughts? And then we rest in the present moment. Dropping the storyline, letting be the experience as it is, allowing for the natural heart of bodhicitta to embrace us. We will then discover that our essential natures are tender, wholesome, and brand new, fresh. Okay, there's the chapter. We got through it with a little bit of time. Yippee. We're going to be going to chapter 5. In all activities, train with slogans. I love the slogans. We've gone over them many times over the years. We will be hitting on a few key slogans. My favorite I will present all of them to you so you can pick your favorite. My favorite happens to be drive all blames into one. That's my favorite slogan, drive all blames into one. What's the one? Who's the one? Nice question to ask, but we'll be looking at chapter 5. Release that. So the work this week is to drop beneath the storyline, getting into the direct experience of the body and staying. That is the meditation practice as well. First, we have to create open space. I don't know how to rest in the distress without it. You need your flak jacket and your floaties. That's open spacious awareness, calling on the distress. I often also love the on the spot contact, the tightness, the grip, the claustrophobia, the choking, can we, rather than go into brainstem, drop down into the body experience and take our 10 breaths there as we stay, cultivating the natural heart mind of bodhicitta. We don't have to fake anything. Isn't that cool? You don't even have to fake it. The fact that you stayed for the whole 10 breaths is it. It is it, because you'll see what you need to see in those 10 breaths. And then you can only, if you have dropped beneath the storyline, you can only love yourself. And then everybody else who fucks it up just like you. That's it. That's all that can come. If you go, I hated myself more, I disconnected more, I numbed out more, I distracted more, I addicted more, what do you know? You did not drop beneath the storyline. You got caught in its grip. And you can just know. Whoops, fell in the hole. What can you do right then? Feel for yourself and all those just like me who fall in the hole too. Right? There's nothing else to do. Is there? All right, we've got it. Simple instructions. I'm looking at Chrissy Courtney and they're like, if they could be looking at each other, it would be amazing. I will take that shot with my new camera skills on the screen, going, do you see a way to this? I don't know. And yes, there is a way. 10 breaths, making contact, dropping beneath the storyline. You will know because they don't feel the same. You will know. And then if you didn't drop the storyline, feel for yourself and all those who get caught. Yeah, we all love our storylines, Leanne. If they were only true, wouldn't that be fabulous? Except they're not. They're actually a crock. We can love the storyline, however, what I think Leanne is saying, we can actually love the truth of our vulnerability in it, can't we? We love the truth of our vulnerability, of our tenderness that created the storyline to begin with. Yes, that's what I think Leanne meant. We're going to take just one moment together. We're going to rest. I'm going to loosen up my neck here so I'm not starting with tightness. Take a big breath, breathing in, open space, breathing it out, open space. So long as time and space endures, that's a long time. And as long as there is anyone in suffering, not just me, but anybody. I will remain, I will commit, and I will be fearless on this path. I will be the doctor, the nurse, and the good medicine, the bridge, the boat, the raft, and the stream that carries us all to the end of suffering. May this practice this very day contribute. So be it. So be it. All right, everyone. Have a fabulous day. Let this practice inform you, please. Calling up bodhicitta is going to be essential. If you don't have those, I will send those 2 stanzas so that you can recollect, remember, recite the heart of bodhicitta. Call it up every morning. You're so welcome, everyone. I look forward to practicing with you this Saturday in the garden at 7:30. We will be there with Nespresso maker and a little Nespresso fairy. Adrian is coming early to my house to make Nespressos for everyone, which I thought was so lovely, generous, and loving of Adrian, as she is. So if you want an espresso, get here around 7:20, 7:25 to get your cup. We will have half and half and some sweeteners too. We'll take a sip and then we will practice together in open space. If I can't get you here with an espresso, tell me what it's going to take. What do you need? Donuts? What I got to, I can have Chris pick some up. I could bring Bloody Marys. I knew who that was before I looked. That's really lovely. Yeah. Well, maybe just the celery and the olives will stick in our Nespresso. Let's start with Nespresso and then expand from there. We can do Bloody Marys on Sundays. Yeah, I hope we get to that. That would be terrific. Satya, you are tempting me here in Ashland with an espresso. That's fabulous. Whatever it takes to get everybody together, that's my goal. I know not all of you can make it, but we will still, of course, be doing Zoom, so don't worry. Don't worry, we will be here. All right, everyone. 10 breaths, making contact, learning to stay. Okay, can we remember? Very basic. 10 breaths, making contact, learning to stay. And love to you all. Be well, everyone. See you soon. See you Saturday.